I'm Brandon.
And I'm Jesse.
We're Cannabis School. Having cannabis-infused conversations
with everyday people,
cannabis companies,
celebrities,
and your mom.
Welcome
to the Sesh.
I'm still a little high from the last time, but it's like the coming down of it. It's very nice. I could see you could fall asleep on this later on.
Yeah.
If you smoked a good amount of it.
Let's see. You know what was interesting? I saw something and it was saying that like over 70% of Utahns are supportive of recreational marijuana.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know. I didn't go to read
happen.
the data because I don't actually know if they truly polled that much, because out of everyone, even in my family, I would wager that 70% of them would not want recreational cannabis use. I think they would be okay with medical, but I don't know if they would support rec. So
no,
I'm very curious where that data comes from, or where they're pulling that from, you know. Because would you think that 70% of all the people you know would support recreational cannabis use here?
Including myself, no.
Yeah, like it's like just such a different...
I am not supportive of rec. Not in this state. I'm not. Because I know what happens.
It screws up every other... Every time recs come to Vegas, to California, to everywhere, or Nevada, sorry, it's always screwed up the market for the existing medical users. I would love to see it
more
become
dispensaries.
That and the accessibility of just like a relationship with a doctor, and if they deem and you deem together that cannabis is beneficial for you, then that should be it. I don't think there should be our crazy, stupid, highly restrictive qualifications or, qualifying conditions, because there's a lot broader use that Utahns, or every state can benefit medically. So maybe I'm on that same page of not 100% supportive of rec.
I would like more variety, but the rec, when you bring in the rec, I know that the black market's huge. Here in Utah, it's either out of state or black market. Like the majority of cannabis users, it's out of state or black market.
I do know some actually who get most of their product from dispensaries here. Or pharmacies.
Yeah, I met a lot of people like that too.
Not all of them, and obviously it's not even all of their products. It's just most of it. But even when we met with Dragonfly, a year ago, they were telling us that, 60% of Utahns get their cannabis from out of state?
Yeah.
I was like, yes, we had such a small percentage of actual consumption here from... Could you imagine? Well, but it's like most states where we talk about, it's taxation, products, it's all this stuff that kind of trickles down, that it's like, well, if everything adjusted, it would be a successful industry. It would have, they wouldn't be struggling on we're only producing this much, or, we're taxed or have these, so we don't get this. It's a very backwards industry, because I don't know if there is any other industry that is treated
it's a nomad industry, dude. It's so uncharted and regulated for no reason in many different areas, and then unregulated in other areas that makes no sense. I get, we could totally, in Utah, they could go, oh, it's the church, and the church has a big way there. Yep. Totally. Just like the church, the Catholic Church has a big way in Chicago or in New York or wherever, right?
Whatever dominant one in that area
exactly
holds a sway over the political landscape.
Totally. But the
that's
other
just
part,
how religion and politics seem to work.
Yeah, and that's just how it always has been. Seriously, if you go back and read, it's
King
always
James
been.
Has his own Bible.
No.
It's.
I mean, if you really want to get into that one, that has nothing to do with him having his own Bible. It was just he commissioned it to be able to get all of the books of the Bible were separate. They were all individual ones, and he wanted to make one big one because he had all of these books, and the Catholic Church was big into the religion and was synced up with Rome, all this stuff, and then they broke away, and that's why Rome was pushed out of the side, and then the Catholic, there's a lot of history that goes into that one. But the book, I used to think that too, it was made so he could divorce. Nope, he got divorced many times from that.
Oh yeah.
It was mainly just because he wanted to put it all into one book. And the reason why they cut out other books was there were certain things.
I don't remember the initial thought that led to that, so I'm not sure.
Oh, I know. But you said about that, but the King James. But anyways, like when you're, oh fuck, where was I? This thing gets me chatty, and I don't know what the fuck's going on.
The cake is an interesting strain because it's not like overly foggy where you lose your train of thought, but it's like you will follow whatever train goes, and then you forget where it was that you started at, and you're like, I don't know how I got to this place, and I don't see any breadcrumbs along the way. So I'm just stuck at this cookie house in the middle of the forest going, where the fuck am I?
Oh, no, I get it now. I was trying to be like, where the fuck was I on that? And now I remember. We were talking about like the legalization and everything like that here and rec states and all that. I just feel that a lot of these different places are just trying to be able to figure it out because they don't know. Like, honestly, it's like being kids in a very strict, okay, take this example, Brandon. You growing up, imagine you in your home, right now. And then all of a sudden one day your parents come home going, yeah, you guys can play games as much as you want, order whatever you want, deliver to the home. And if you guys want to be in rooms by yourselves with friends, that's totally okay. Even if they're of the opposite sex, you just do your thing. That would be crazy for you guys.
Mm-hmm. So I don't remember any of this growing up, but there was a point, supposedly,
legend.
Yeah, supposedly in my childhood that my parents said they went from the parenting method they had been doing. They went to some class and it said, oh, do it, like, allow them to do whatever. So we got to eat what we wanted. Supposedly we got to stay up as late as we wanted, all of this stuff. And we hated it, supposedly, because we struggled waking up in the morning for school. We struggled getting ourselves ready. I'm like, I don't remember
propaganda lies.
Any of this, honestly. But who says it didn't happen? Like, I would have to ask my other siblings.
Unless you were beaten.
Well,
if there was something traumatic happened at that time.
Well, as I'm saying, I have no idea what... I know that I remember my parents going to parenting classes of sorts. I just don't remember any actual, like, what changes or adjustments happened or things, because that's been 20, 30 years. Like, it's been so long since that time
that's so weird
that I have no idea.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been too young to not remember.
I'd have to ask my
what are you, the
siblings, second oldest.
You're second, yeah, of course. No, you would have remembered that. Like, you know, it's like I could ask you, you know, what's one of the fondest memories you have as a child, and you could recall it pretty quickly. And then I can ask you what's one of the most traumatic things like when I think of traumatic things that have happened to you, I mean, so many has happened to you, but like when you fell between that trailer and you're like that and your dad picks you up.
No, I fell off the trailer.
Oh, you fell off the trailer.
That one, honestly, I don't feel like that one was traumatic to me.
Dude, the way you talk about it is like you were like stuck like this and your dad just goes crack.
Yeah, but to me that wasn't traumatic. It was just like I kind of freaked out for a second because my legs didn't work and I was a little kid and I hurt and it was like, what? But to me, more of the trauma was like, I feel like, you know, my dad in the middle of nowhere between Nevada and Utah pulling over on the side of the road when I'm 11, Curtis is maybe 13, telling Curtis to get out of the truck in the middle of nowhere because he's pissed off at him and leaving him there and driving down the road. And my mom jumping out of the truck as my dad starts to drive off. Like, I'm not leaving my kid here on his own. And like that kind of stuff. And my dad driving for 10 minutes before he even turned around.
So you remember that. That's pretty big deal. You would remember a free day.
Well, but it's not just a free day. It was like, they said all of this stuff changed. I'm like, I don't remember that.
No, I think they fabricated it.
So I'm like,
Parents do that.
I feel like I have a very good memory and recollection of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Even stupid trauma of just like horrible,
that was
fucked
horrible.
up moments in my life that I was like, oh, dang. And that's not to say that people at home don't have way more fucked up experiences.
No, but it was your fucked up experience.
For me, that was my trauma, like some of mine.
You don't need to compare. I mean, it's your experience. Nobody can live that for you. But I mean, you know, it's like my kids, like, you know, my son, my youngest, he gets freaked out if I ever raise my voice because I used to raise my voice all the time. And so if I raise my voice now, he gets a little freaked out. He's like, oh crap, this means that dad's going to throw the hammer down. And I'm not like that anymore. But
isn't that interesting? Like sad. I guess sad is because I'm the same way. Because that's how my dad was hyper reactive.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a young dad, I was hyper reactive, and I would like,
but
yell
all
at
in the
them
name
or
of
snap.
protection and love. Yeah, I
Or
mean,
just
for me
like,
it was because
in my mind of like, this is what we need to do because this is what we do, and when we do this, no one gets hurt, no one gets like.
well,
And it was this just like deeply ingrained thing of like, no, we need to do these things, and it's like, well, but why? Why is it necessary? Because not everything that my parents did, said, required was to keep us safe or all of these things. Like
to keep their agenda,
or
what they
like,
wanted.
Yeah,
And I
because
totally understand.
of how they grew up. And well,
Right.
this is how kids need to be. This is how a household needs to be. This is how everything is structured. And so, you need to do that because, well, grandma and, I mean, it's the era. It's the era of all of those older generations that they have that probably very similar mentality that was just passed down.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's funny because it goes back to that discussion we were talking about possible making it recreational in the state of Utah, or at least people asking for it. Of course they're going to ask for it. And it's easy. It's more readily available. The issue that I have with that one is that it's teaching that it's okay to be openly stupid with it. Like you find, in rec states, you cannot argue that the amount of people in rec states using cannabis and getting involved in DUIs, it's much higher. Why? Because it's more readily available and it's available for anybody. Yeah, they've got studies on there, which is totally fine.
But also I'm curious how much they were testing cannabis drivers previous to that. Like,
oh no, these are based off of clear indications. It smells like marijuana in the car.
Oh yeah, not that. I just mean like what amount of percentage of stops. Like, I know there's obviously an increase of consumption because there's more people who are like, oh, well, it's legal, and some people are not going to use it if it isn't. They're not going to go get a plug, a dealer, anything, or go out of the state.
But I find
if it's not legal there, so I
don't
could
know.
see an increase there. But
it totally has. Because it's so readily available, the problem that comes in is the quality of product goes way down. Like it just doesn't good. And then all of your the regular weed that we've been smoking here for a little bit of time, that we've got from Dragonfly. We've tried Trike, meh. Tried Black Sheep, meh.
I've got another one here for next week that we'll do. That's a whole different cultivar.
Yeah. And that's what's cool. It's like, trying all these different ones, but when you start realizing that I want to use this for a purpose, if it's so available and so cheap, then I'm just using it like a nicotine.
Well, that's the problem, is if it's so available and so cheap, most of the time, and this is what we found in all of the rec states that come out, is most of those, it's the race to the bottom.
Oh, totally. Who can be the cheapest price?
Cheapest quality, cheapest price. Like, oh, where do you get that
prop.
bang for the buck of like, okay, versus what's going to be the best experience? What's going to give me that thing that I'm looking for? But I'm going to cut this part out. But the DUI part, like you and I both smoke and drive. So, and we're in a medical state. So I think that that's not my concern with rec. It's all the other.
You're going to cut out me talking about DUIs?
No, just me saying we both drive and smoke.
Oh, well, no, but
so that aspect I go.
But we don't get inebriated on it.
No, but is technically every other person that gets pulled over with the smell and it in their system inebriated as well? Like,
no,
that's the other thing I wonder is, does that data truly show? Because
I find that I'm more a careful driver.
Oh yeah, but if they were to test us and go, hey, I smelt weed and you had it in your system, like,
there's no way to test it.
Yeah, so then that's what I wonder is how many of those people were just like you or I, that it was like they smelt that, but they do have a DUI.
I think it would be
there
like,
may be still a safe.
Well, I believe that they're
drive.
probably going to do like sobriety tests. And
that's what I think it should be, is always field sobriety of like.
Yeah, but they need to make a new one.
Yes, they do, but it should be, how can you
cognitive
function?
Things,
yeah.
Like a flashcard stuff, like colors, things like that. Like you have to react to when you're driving.
How fast is your reaction time?
Right.
Okay, cool. Let's have you sit down at this computer and do this little test. It's typing, it's reaction, because, this color, this thing popped up. You don't have to do shit.
Yeah, plus we play video games, so our reaction time is way higher.
But you think of these things, and I'm like, okay, so that would be a better structure, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of rec because of how much it's broken or ruined almost every medical place that it's
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, because now it becomes like it's still gated. Like, you still have to get a medical card if you want medical grade quality cannabis, which I don't think that Utah's at. I think they're at the exact same places everywhere else. Like, it's just the rec doses.
If not lower.
If not lower, totally.
We do have some things I think that are great, and I don't think it's our products yet. I think
the edibles are meh.
Oh yeah, they're not great.
No.
But even then, like, some of our flour is good. Like, we've got some really good flour.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're still new. We're five years into the industry.
Yeah, we're pretty young.
What have we truly learned in that? And how much of that time has been fighting the legislator, fighting all of this stuff? But that's probably every other state.
Yeah.
They come in and they go, this is what we're trying to do. And the other states, like even Texas just is trying to push through or ban more of the hemp-derived products.
Good.
Which I think there needs better regulation around that. I don't know if it needs to ban them, but we need regulation around them better.
The reason why the banning is because of it's the process of what they extract. Not all of them are going to be bad, but the majority of them are.
Maybe that's what needs to happen in a lot of those. But
even
the thing
the
that
drinks.
Sucks, the thing that sucks though is there are maybe some good companies that would get shot in the foot and they'd have to close because of that until they restructured after they were like, we're going to ban all hemp products, all hemp derived, D9, D8, whatever that is. We'll ban all of that and then restructure a thing of like, this is the safety requirements or the requirements needed to have a product sold in this space. And then from there, because it's the Wild West right now.
Oh,
so
totally.
Instead of having that, it's like,
going on.
Well, let's wipe that slate. Go, you can have a hemp-derived product. You just need to make sure it actually meets these safety requirements because none of you guys are fucking doing that.
Yeah.
Maybe some, but like a lot of hemp-derived products are so garbage.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't, like, what's in the package is not what's on the label. So,
all this stuff, dude, like, I like Cycling Frog. It was a tasty drink. Mm-hmm. I like the other one. Sunrise. That was great.
Great flavor.
All of them make me feel off. I've never had like a THC infused drink. It's always a hemp-derived THC.
Well, see, we can do that really simple because all we do is infuse like a salt or sugar.
Oh, no, I'm just saying like in our state, but like out of state, every time I've had the opportunity to be able to buy one, I never do because because drinkables are just not my thing.
I got one before, but the problem is, again, for me,
dosing.
I have to drink the entire thing, and it's like 100 milligrams for some of them, or some they're like 10 for the entire drink, and I'm like, that won't do a thing. Even 100 milligrams, I'm not going to feel now, but when I first got into it, and, ages ago, 100 milligrams was fantastic for what I needed.
Well, and that's another thing too. Like if you start increasing your consumption, you're gonna greatly exacerbate your tolerance. So
I blame it on my stupidity of not going, hey, I don't need this high of a dose, and being with friends who are pushing me to experience really fun, incredible highs. If you should get really high, let's take this high dose. Oh, sure, I have a high tolerance. Why not? And now my tolerance is here.
Yeah.
Okay, well now my tolerance is here.
Yeah, like you tell me, like you can eat 250 milligrams and you'll feel all right.
I don't feel
as much.
No,
but for me, I can
barely numbs my pain.
25 to 30 and I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah. And I know when my edibles are kicking in from 250 milligrams because my mouth's dry. Mm-hmm. That's how I know when they're actually hitting. I'm like, I'm getting a little bit of dry mouth. The edibles must be at their peak.
Yeah. And
and that's it.
I only use edibles at night because I honestly, it's just, I don't want to stop and I don't want to, stop listening to a book or reading a book or playing a video game just to go outside to smoke. I'm just like, I'll have this, I'll smoke, start playing games with you. And then by the time I would need to go smoke again, edibles kicked in and I'm like,
I wish I could do that. And
like
maybe
the cake feels like this would be amazing edible. I think it would even be strong. It'd be better as an edible.
I would love this. Yeah. And like the longevity of an edible would be fantastic for this. Yeah. Definitely have to try that one out.
Yeah. I like this a lot. Now, going back, man, we go in so many directions with that, right? It's
such a fun strain that it kind of does take you all over.
Just takes
and
you
that.
all
Like,
over.
it's not. And the thing is, there's nothing with this strain that's like displacing in the slightest.
No.
You don't feel off. You don't feel weird. You don't feel hazy. You don't feel like.
No, towards the end, you get sleepy.
Yeah. I find that as it comes down, I find
Which is
myself
nice
a little
for an
sleepier.
indica.
Yeah.
Because it feels like right now when it's coming down, it feels like an edible high. I feel it. I feel warm. I feel toasty. It feels great. Oh, man. I thought I've been looking at interesting things lately, too. They apparently found another pyramid in Mexico that was bigger than the one in Cholula.
Where? So who found it? Or has it been just more publicized that like the Mexican government's been hiding? Because I swear even the one in Mexico, they kind of tried to cover up and
Which
stuff.
one?
The big one in Mexico City. Isn't there one in Mexico City that was like now it looks like a mountain or stuff?
Oh, no, that was in Cholula. And that was because of the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church built a cathedral on top of it. They literally, the conquistadors, buried it to put a church on top. That's how much they wanted to let these people know that they were saving them. And it was super tragic. But
it's been interesting because lots of churches have been built on the same ley lines or existing places that other churches or sacred.
Oh, I don't think that's a mistake.
No, I don't either.
I think it was known. I just don't think they do it the same way anymore.
No, I don't either. Because even back then, like so much was done, even acoustically, that everything was designed for specific reasons that we don't do now.
That's like in Chichen Itza.
Mm-hmm.
My wife went there, and when you do it, have you been there?
Yeah.
Okay, so
not in 23 years.
But you remember when the guy would clap,
yeah,
and he would make this.
But you can hear,
dude, the acoustics there. You could talk normally, and everybody could hear you.
Yeah.
So it's
incredible.
I mean, it was incredible craftsmanship. I think that's the only reason why we don't see homes and stuff like that is that we've outsourced so much shit that we forgot. I mean, there's very few craftsmen.
Yeah.
Very few. I mean, compared to back, I saw this one where this guy was doing drywall, and all he had was one of those hatchet hammers.
What?
It was cool. He puts it up, looks at it, scores it, breaks it off, flips it around, nail, 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 nail. Then he had this one where there was this archway, and he cuts this thin piece exactly to that, breaks it off, puts it over there, turns it around, score, 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 score.
So it sits up nicely.
Yep.
It brilliant.
And it went, brrr, and then he just one-handed. This guy was doing drywall. And
That's
then
incredible.
It was funny because I saw in the comments, it was like old school, dude. I think it was like 60s or 70s when this guy was doing that.
Oh, dang.
And this other guy's, the comments in there are super funny. One of them's like, and then the Mexicans came in and did all of that work in 2 hours. I was like, yeah, dude. Like I told you that when I was a rock mason, we had this Mexican crew that worked with us. And they were so fast, dude. They were a machine. Like you had two guys that were mixing concrete.
Yeah.
And they were moving fast too, like all the time.
That's always who did our homes was this Hispanic brick mason crew.
Yeah.
And they were the funniest guys. They taught me like Spanish curses, joke, because I worked with my dad since I was 9. So all the time I would be out there and there's this little kid and a bunch of like construction worker Hispanics or white people just like bullshitting, joking around. That's like, I grew up around that and I loved it because they were the hardest workers. They were
fast.
Like incredible too. Yeah. And I respected the hell out of what they did. They were such good people.
When I was doing brick, and I fucking hate brick.
Yeah, I've never done it.
I fucking hate brick, dude, because brick is super tedious.
I can imagine.
But if you're the layer, it's awesome. Like you get your lines out, you story it out. You're like, okay, this is where the lines, and that's why they make it so perfect. And it's funny because like these guys, like a lot of bricklayers, fucking idiots. But when it comes to math, they just look at it and they can get it all. And I think that's so cool. That's why I was never a real good brick mason. I was a good rock mason, but I wasn't a good brick mason. And that's why I was always mixing mud. But fuck, it's just like when they're talking, they're just grabbing bricks and they turn it around. They just move so quick.
Yeah.
And that mud better be almost like fucking water.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to have it at the perfect consistency. And,
Mud. If they got to yell
hilarious.
mud, you've been going too slow.
Yeah.
And then you got to add
Something's wrong.
pigment, and so much pigment per mix, or else it'll fuck up the grout. And they would do these like crazy intricate designs on walls and on the grounds.
Yeah, there's this
like
one,
beyond herringbone.
like
cool.
tile stuff too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I saw this video, and I think it was a dude just out in like the Middle East or something, Israel, somewhere through there. And the tile work they were doing was incredible. And they were scoring it. They didn't have a tile saw. They were using a grinder and then score tile. And they did
Do it
this
by
entire
hand, like I.
And it literally looked like a cascading checker thing that was spiraling down like a hole in the ground. That's what they designed in the tile. And I was like, this looks insane.
Oh, yeah.
Like such incredible craftsmanship. It's not work. It's craftsmanship. It's like the old homes that you go see, and the woodwork or the stonework on the outside, there's like sculpting and faces and stuff. And then you come now and you're like, well, this stucco cardboard box that's perfectly square and identical to the 100 other next to it are such great art.
Dude, I got to find this video, because they had this video of this guy going through going, don't build out your home's made out of cardboard. Literally, they were using some type of material that's like cardboard. And
gosh, for what? Like
for building a home. And they are driving around. I think it was another contractor who was telling this other guy, like, he was building all these homes within the subdivision. And he's like, yeah, you guys better be careful. Strong wind will come through and blow them down. He was saying that as he's looking at these homes that are flat. All the other homes are fine. And it's just like, this is why, dude, that's why construction workers are not I would say this, and if you're a construction company, prove it. Most construction companies, I think, are not craftsmen anymore. They're just taskmasters. They're just doers. I don't see any craftsmanship. I don't see any bricklaying that looks awesome. I don't see any cool designs of homes.
It's because
they're all fucking shit.
It's because most people, like, the cost of a home that's craftsmanship.
Oh, it's super expensive.
Is so much. To have a home that was designed that way, even my size home, if it was like a true craftsmanship home, this is like $500,000 home neighborhood almost. And if I were to do that with craftsmanship, this home would be worth $1 million. I'm like, that would be insane.
Think back to like Adam Nugent's home.
Craftsmanship. Because it's older. It's in like the avenues of Salt Lake. Like those homes have
so much character.
They have character. Yeah, and you can tell, like, they're
not the doorway is like, it was like getting into Bilbo Baggins' home. Like, it was so cool. And I mean, he had it updated inside, but still just the attention to detail, the way that things are made. It's made with a purpose, not just to put people in rooms.
Yeah.
Even the rooms weren't as big, but that's good. Like, we have these giant vaulted ceilings. Like Adam's house, they're not vaulted ceilings. And I actually prefer that. I don't like big open spaces. I don't, because it costs more to heat. Even if you get all the other stuff done, that's cool, but it's still really fucking expensive to get that stuff done. So either way, you got to have fucking money to keep this. And
I was like, I mean, the first home we lived in when I grew up didn't have vaulted ceilings. It was all, normal. Yeah. But then every home past that had vaulted ceilings. But we built them that way, and so it was just...
It's just, it was a design.
That's what I've always known. My mom's has a tiny vault, if that, just in her living room.
Yeah, she's like, 10 feet? Maybe a 10 tall?
Yeah, maybe 11 in her kitchen.
Yeah.
Like kitchen, living room area. But
that's fine with me.
My dad's is vaulted in his kitchen, living room, at least 20 feet. But that's how it's been.
That home was like that, right?
Well, even the Grandview one. The vault up by the loft was like, it was designed for that. It was 18 foot.
You always had that really weird like front room. Like nobody lived in there. Nobody went there. Was that only for like family?
Are you talking about the music room?
No, I'm talking about the one right by the kitchen.
That's where we always were.
Oh, I know, when we did family things, but you guys had like downstairs. Were you guys mostly downstairs or were you guys upstairs?
Both. The upstairs we used, but the downstairs had like the pool table, we had a projector and movie thing. We had like the Papa Shot. We had air hockey. We had,
which is so crazy because when I was a poor kid growing up, I would have been like, "This is the coolest fucking
we
arcade
didn't
ever."
have that growing up until we moved back over to this side when I was about 16.
Oh,
So I didn't have a pool table. We had an air hockey table, but we didn't have the pool table, all this other stuff until later. And then we got the projector like the second year in that house. So I was maybe 17. And then, they got the pool table. They got the pool table once I was 18. So
yeah, but they
didn't
were
even,
still kind of like,
oh yeah. So it was like, but then they're like, oh, well, how come your friends don't want to come over? Well, because you guys are crazy strict. We can't do anything. I can't have fun. You're going to be, hey, I'm going to send my little brother down there and he's going to hang out in the basement because, well, there's a girl there. Okay, well.
like you guys are going to gangbang her?
Like, nothing's going to happen. It's like, you can't be alone with a girl
because bukkake.
like, mom's upstairs and, she doesn't have the ears of a hawk or something that's like, oh. So, just, it was this weirdest thing, but I think they wanted us to be more at home and have friends over, but the problem was they didn't create a conducive environment to have that. So no one wanted to hang out there until we were older and, and then at that point, I didn't live there anymore. So,
well, why would you?
oh yeah, no. I moved out the day I was 18. I had already signed a contract like the week before.
I remember you
to
telling me
move
that.
out.
Weren't your parents kind of shocked?
Oh yeah, because they're like, wait, what? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm moving out. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I just signed a contract. I'll be out next week. And so, because they hadn't mentioned or said anything.
Was your mom a little upset?
I don't remember. She was probably hurt. Kind of sad, probably, I'm sure. But they had just kicked Curtis out, not that long ago. And I had no sense of freedom or all of this. And it was like,
right.
Yeah, I'd rather leave. So I left for 6 months. I got my own apartment with friends. After that 6 months, when I came back, I had like infinite more freedom than I did when I lived at home before. And it was the weirdest thing, but all I had to do was get out for 6 months.
Well, it's because it's, I don't know. It was weird for me too, man. When I moved back in with my parents, like when I got out of the military and I came home,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with myself. And my parents were never really strict growing up like that. Like,
Yeah.
I could hang out, like during the summertime, I could hang out with my friends in front of the house on the front porch talking until like 2 a.m. My parents had no problem with that. We could go out anytime we want. Like my sister and I, when we were in high school, like as strict as our parents were with it, like the one thing they were never strict with us was friends. And at a fault too. There were some friends growing up that my parents should have put their foot down going, nope, I don't want them in my house. I don't want them here. And the reason why is we're a better judge of character because we've had more time. And you can tell those kids, you're like, that kid is up to bullshit and he's going to drag my kid down. Oh,
he's going to drag it through it. And
Yeah.
your kid's going to go through so much shit just because they haven't learned how to read people yet.
Yeah.
And go, yeah, this person actually doesn't have any of my best interest.
Which luckily, I mean, there's only like a few kids that come in my home and I'm just like, well, I mean, if they're autistic, I'm like, yeah, the kid's just crazy. And he's just going nuts. Like I had one kid come over, he just likes making loud sounds and that's way of stimming because he's overstimulated. So he's got to do something to let it out. But if I didn't know that, I'd be like, oh, fucking crazy kid. But I'm just like, oh, he's just releasing steam like out of a kettle. Like, I get it. No big deal.
Yeah, but
I haven't
see,
had
that's
bad
different
kids
though
influence.
than like someone who's trying to get them to do terrible things.
Oh, dude, like I had these friends that we were constantly in trouble together, constantly in trouble. And it wasn't like little things. It was like vandalism or stealing shit. Like I had friends who were like, hey, we should break into the neighbor's garage and steal a bunch of their shit. And I was like, I don't know about that. And they just go ahead and do it. And this is the kind of people I started growing up around. Like they were like, yeah, let's go rob the neighbors. And then they would probably go over to their house the next day going, hey, what's going on? Like, oh, somebody broke in our house. What? I'll keep an eye out. Like, what the fuck? You're a piece of shit.
I had friends like that too. And we were at some church thing. We were down at the Dollar Theater when it existed. And we had time before then.
Good memories.
So this friend was like, hey, let's go into the dollar store and get a couple snacks. And let's just steal that.
Yeah.
So, of course, just stole that. And then he got a little razor blade and was like, let's go to Shopco. We went to Shopco and he's like, let's steal these video games. And so we take a bunch of video games and put them in our pockets and go to walk out the door. And security busts us, of course. And my dad, being like the young men person who's over at the movie theater then with the young men, young women group, gets this call and is so ecstatic that his son is hanging out with a kid who has been really good influence, and his son's kind of stupid and going along with it.
Well, yeah, because you want to fit in, and dude, I'll tell you right now, it's exciting when you're about to get caught and you get away with it. It's exciting when you're a little kid. But
you know what I feel
on.
now? Like I never realized this or respected or saw it, but like now when I go into a store and like I could never think of stealing something because I go, this is someone's family, this is someone's hard work. This is like how many times have we tried to build a business and gone, how much blood, sweat, and tears have gone into that,
and still something doesn't come out.
And then if someone's going, hey, well, I need this because look how big it is. Well, you don't know what their business is doing. You don't know how many families it's supporting or like
you're not
any of that.
You're not ripping off Target. You're not ripping off Walmart. You're ripping off that product.
Family. Yeah.
That product that comes from somebody else. And how much money they got to pay to get on that shelf to get to you. That company is making pennies.
So then I think about it like, so I'm not stealing from this thing. I'm stealing from like a person. I'm taking from my friend, from my neighbor. I'm taking from someone who truly maybe actually needs that.
Yeah, that's why Spotify helps me to sleep at night, because I would torrent the shit out of music and it's really not cool to them. I mean, I know they get pennies from that one, but the more they get played, the more they make. But you know, I think that was one of the only good things. I think Taylor Swift got some changes made over there because she wouldn't allow her stuff to be on there. I don't know if she allows it on there.
She
now.
is on Spotify now. Yeah.
Yeah. So they must, because it was the money.
Even like Tool wasn't on there for a bit. They weren't on there.
Yeah. Then, Tool was really.
Then when you realize too, like the music industry has been this horrible thing so I don't care for Taylor Swift at all.
No.
However,
she had somebody smart with her.
Emily's one of the biggest Taylor Swift fans. She's got everyone on vinyl. Like, she loves her music. She listens to it all the time, and that's fine. That's her. But when, like, I was disappointed to find out that she had to redo her own albums under her own production later because the rights or something had been held or printed by some other company.
The masters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, so she no longer, and I'm like, but how many people do that? And they actually make pennies on the dollar, and like the artists themselves.
The majority of them do. Like the boy band era, when that came around, like, I mean, it started around. I mean, it's always been around, but when it got like
probably 90s.
No, it's been since then? Like it's been since the doo-wop groups in the 50s, dude.
Oh,
like,
okay.
They've had boy bands, and then throughout the 60s and 70s. But like, I felt like the 80s and 90s were like the big time from it. Like, we still have music artists from that time, like Justin Timberlake and shit like that. But all those guys, like, dude, they got fucking shafted. Everything they made, like, I saw this documentary about how this boy band was completely a front for this guy to make a ton of money, and how all they had to do was ask for things, and they got them, but they never got to keep them. Like, they just got, like, all their cars, their houses.
Horrible.
Nope, it was all being rented. All being rented. They didn't own one fucking thing.
Jeez.
But the music mogul guy, he did, and I gotta forget. I'll find it and I'll send it. It's fucked up because we're all thinking like, oh, they're just getting these like young, good-looking boys to dance and are taking their shirts off just to get the girls wet, so they'll buy the fucking CD. Back in the day, now it's like it doesn't even make sense. You see a lot of independents, like Taylor Swift makes a lot of money because she does a lot of her own production. You can see guys like Tom McDonald, who's a rapper. And he's a white rep, but he's a multimillionaire and owns all of it.
I think that would be the better way to do it, or find a better partnership, because most of those ones I hear, they just get raked over the coals.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's horrendous too.
But you got to look at it too now. Instead of looking at the record label as the big, bad, evil record label, you've got this person that's talented, but doesn't want to spend a long time to build up their career. They don't want to play in seedy bars and on the street corners.
Well, it takes a long time to grow your own.
Takes a ton of, like, I got a friend back in Chicago. He worked underneath me when I was that CMO for the e-commerce agency. And he had a band. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be doing my work from the road. Can we do a call this day from the road? I'm like, totally, that's fine. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, where are you going? He goes, oh, I'm in this band. We travel all over from Chicago to New York and down in the South. And I'm like, oh, what do you make? Oh, no, dude, we lose money every year. He's like, but one day we'll get there. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I think it's awesome because one day they might get picked up. Yeah, exactly. But the other part that's really it's hard is that these moguls will come there and they know when there's a good thing. Yeah. They're just like, wow, they've got an ear for it. They got an eye for them. And I mean, because there's probably a shitload of great looking singers that got fucked up teeth and maybe their eyes are a little off and they're like,
I mean, have you ever seen America's Got Talent?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think of like Family Guy every time I look at Taylor Swift because I think of Uma Thurman. And they go, hey, Peter, what was your job before? You go, I used to be Uma Thurman's eye wrangler. And then all of a sudden she's like sitting there, they go, yeah, there we go. Right? But it was just like that. Like she looks like a straight up like all those like where people are like, and then they took me into the ship and then they covered my face and then they started to put these things in me. Like I would be okay. Like if I saw Taylor Swift above me and she took off her wig, I'd be like, knew it. Like, I mean, it just, before she anally probes me, right? And I'll just smile at her going, I don't like your music. And she starts to stir my
She's
guts.
like, that's okay. This is my new album.
But, I just, they find these record moguls and they go, hey, look, we're going to put all of this money up front. We do not know if you're going to be a big hit. We do not know. But if you do become a big hit, we're going to take a lot of it. And they let them know up front. And they're so starstruck and excited. And all they're thinking is Elvis Presley, like a mansion.
Yep.
But back then it was different. They don't realize that even back then, they had to fight for everything that they had. And they had to create some back deals like the band Kiss. The only reason why Kiss is relevant is Gene Simmons, the lead singer of that band. And the reason why? Merchandising.
Merchandising.
Spaceballs
the merchandise.
Spaceballs the flamethrower. And then a doll. Me. May the Schwartz be with you. Adorable. But when you... Oh, fuck, I got a last thought. Made me laugh.
Merchandising.
Yeah, dude. Fucking dolls, shirts, posters... That's Gene Simmons created Kiss. It wasn't because their music was so great. Matter of fact, you ask anybody, what's your favorite Kiss song? Rock and roll all night. Like, what's that song called?
I have no idea.
It's Detroit Rock City. But
I don't know if I listened to any Kiss, honestly.
But if you hear that song, it's recognizable. You wouldn't know who sings it.
But you recognize the song.
But if you see the face...
Oh, you know the face.
That's Kiss.
Yep.
And he made... millions off of merchandising.
See, my parents were always, or I just knew that was satanic. You don't listen to that because Kiss was Knights in Satan's Service. 9 Inch Nails referred to the nails they put in Jesus' hands. Yeah. So all of these were horrible bands that you should never listen to because that's like Satan worshiping music. And yet...
Yeah, but then it was back in the day. If you like colored music and you were white... You in league with Satan.
But that's all I liked was black people music. It was the best. Rap was my favorite.
Oh, no, I'm talking like way back. Oh. Like way, way, way back. Like back when, like in the 20s and 30s.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. People are like,
messed up.
But that's the thing. Like it was the time. But that's what I really like about independent artists that are willing to tough it out and are willing to do the one. I don't like Tom MacDonald's music. My wife used to really like it. She no longer likes it. My kids went through a phase. They no longer listen to him.
Yeah.
But he
had some funny song that I heard about, like he was roasting some other guy.
Oh, yeah.
That one made me chuckle. But past that, I'm like,
I've heard a lot of his songs, and they're okay. My kids used to listen to him, but the cool part about him is that he actually he is part of the packaging process. All those people that buy his CDs, he actually shrink wraps them.
Oh, that's cool.
He makes millions now, and he's still, I'm sure he's not involved in all of that, but dude, he's all about content. The guy constantly putting out YouTube videos. He's constantly writing new songs. They may not be good, but he does it anyways. And that's awesome. It's like Stephen King writing books. It's like, just keep pumping them out, bro.
I wonder about the artists. So Glass Animals. I love Glass Animals.
Yeah,
they were
you do.
probably still one of my favorite artists. But I know that I feel like there's albums since they got bigger that feels more like they've sold out and written newer versions for whatever was popular, not for whatever their style of music was. And maybe like West and them had said, hey, this might be this form of art that they're feeling, or this version of themselves at this moment. And maybe that's what it is. And if so, that's okay. I just felt like from what their other ones were to that, it all of a sudden felt like it was almost sold out. Like, hey, we're writing this because this is what the popular vibe is right now.
Well, I agree with you. Like when I wanted to say to him was like, yeah, but it's still like, here's the shitty part about being an artist. You can either love the work that you created and share it with no one, or you can love the work you created, but accept it's no longer yours. Because once you give it to
it's the
world's, you no longer own it.
It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing, it's like art is always the artist's interpretation, and then there is always the objective viewer's interpretation. And the viewer is always different, so that interpretation will always be different, and that song has different meaning or value or hold to every individual being.
Oh, yeah.
So 100%. It's like that relationship, it does feel like, oh, this is my favorite song. This is my song. How many people have, this is our song. You own it now? But they have, brought it so much into whatever it is, meaning within their life, that this song holds invaluable amount of value. And you're like, that's such a weird thing for just no physical, tangible thing that you actually hold, own, or whatever, but it's just you hold so dearly this collection of notes together.
Yeah. Or it makes me think of and I'm always jumping around. I apologize that if you're like, wait a minute, where did he just go? So if you get whiplash from this next part, this is why I'm talking right now. It's to soften the blow. Oh, fuck, I lost what I was going to say.
Whiplash. Whiplash!
We were talking about music.
We were. And art.
And how it, when you're allowing it to get out there, you need to be excited about it. If you have this talent, the worst thing you could ever do is just keep it to yourself, because you never know who else could prosper from it, enjoy it, even make their life better. I think that those people who are really passionate about what they do, and they're never really thinking you could make money out of it.
Yeah.
They're just I just need to do it.
I just do this because I love it. It has doesn't need any.
Cool that I can buy things, but I'm more excited about I saw an interview with, I think his name is, it's a crazy, it would be a gambler name from some fucking Western show. But he is the creator.
Shooter McBets a lot.
I don't know if that's his name, but he's the creator and founder of Oculus.
Oh, okay.
And he was just a nerd. It was super cool. He's on this podcast where he's on there with a Special Forces ex-CIA contractor, a badass. This guy can go in places and fuck people up pretty good with a weapon or without a weapon. And he's on this show of nothing but badasses in war. And Sean Ryan just finds him incredibly just fascinating, brings him on, and all the guy wanted to talk about was how cool it was to create these things when he was a kid, and to come up with the concept of the drone, that the VR based off of working with drones, and how much he enjoyed it and what he got out of it and how cool it was. And then he finally was tells his friends, he's like, hey, let's do this. When he got fired from Facebook. Yeah, he got fired because they bought him out.
Oh, so he was a partner.
No, they bought him out. They gave him in billions of dollars he got. And then after that, he was okay, and they brought him into the company. And he had his own opinions about things. political opinions.
As we all do.
And he posted it, and Facebook says, you have to take that down. We're not okay with that. And he's like, wait a minute. And that's when he was like, wait a minute, can we not say what we want on here? And they're like, well, it just looks bad on us because we don't support that narrative. And all it was, he took out a billboard ad to support this group that thought that Hillary Clinton was crooked because,
what?
yeah, I know. And
Pizzagate or any other thing she's tied to.
Right. And he just gave him a $5,000 donation. They said, hey, could you donate to this? He goes, yeah, I'll support that. And why not? Fuck Hillary.
And that was public? Or
it was on a billboard. And
that he paid for it?
They got traced back to him.
Okay.
Because Facebook saw it. Somebody from Facebook saw it and didn't like it. So they said it was hostile and that he needs to take it down or change his opinion or apologize. And he says, I will do none of those.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me to do anything. And so what it came down to was, and he was asking him, like, was it Zuckerberg that told you? He goes, oh, no. They insulate him. He doesn't get to.
Oh, yeah, no. Because you would never come from the CEO.
No.
Why would it?
No,
you always have it come from an underling. That would be stupid.
It was the lawyers. He says the lawyers in corporations, this is what creeps me about corporations, is that there pretty much is nobody there for the employees.
No.
It is 100% for them. And that's the funny thing. They're always like, well, why do we have such a massive churn?
Well,
because nobody wants to work for you.
Because they don't care. What company truly does care and has, because we've talked about it, and a real culture where they give a shit about the person, they prioritize them, their mental health, their family, like actually put them first.
Yeah, no, they're a rare breed of company.
They might exist.
No, but they used to be more.
They're probably the exception.
Do you remember that company around here, U.S. Synthetics?
By name, not by...
So they make diamond tip drills, diamond tip saw blades. Yeah. And they're all like, what is it? They make the diamonds, right? Synthetic diamonds. And it's like diamond dust pretty much. And this is what they're doing. So there's a big QA part. And they used to be here in Orem. They were right off of the freeway. They offered so much to their employees that people would work there forever. And I remember guys like growing up, they're like, oh yeah, man, I'm making like $26 an hour. This is
ages ago, though.
2000.
Yeah.
Literally 2000. I knew a guy there.
Oh, that's insane.
And he's making $26 an hour, and he just does QA on diamond bits. And I was like, what do you do? And he goes, well, I inspect them under microscope. And then it fits the qualities of what we said, and then I pass them on to the next person. I'm like a thing. He goes, no, it's different. I get a whole shipment, and I have to go through each one. I was like, oh, cool. And I'm like, why do you stay there? And he goes, they have an on-site medical facility that's available to me and my family at no extra charge.
Yeah.
We have a full staff cafeteria. This is before Todd Pedersen. I guarantee Todd got it from this place.
Google. It came from Google.
Oh, actually. He did the Google. These guys were doing it way before, where they were taking care of their people. And it was just a blue-collar company. But they were rare. Like the marketing company I used to work for, Fluid, we had on-site medical.
But see, when Todd Pedersen did it, it was garbage because they still had tons of churn, because what they would do is hire and fire before the benefits kicked in at 90 days. So you'd get a ton of churn. Then by 90 days...
Still doing it.
They'd keep... Oh, probably.
Yeah, boiler rooms.
Minuscule. And that's all it was. It was boiler room template of like, bring them in, send out a ton.
Yeah, and offload them and start up somewhere else again.
Yep. And that's just all they did. It was like the worst thing, but...
I had a friend not recently, I'd say about a couple years ago, that I talked to him like 2 weeks prior, and we just kind of caught up, and I was like, hey man, how things going? Oh, I'm working for this company. I'm killing in sales. I'm at the top of the board right now. I'm crushing it. And then 2 weeks later, he hits me up on Messenger, and he's like, hey man, can I ask you a favor? Can I give you a call? And I said, sure. Give him my number. He calls me, and he's like, dude.
Lost his job?
Yeah, I lost my job. He's like, I don't understand. Yep. He goes, I was there for 90 days. And I'm like, oh, I know why you got fired.
Yep.
They didn't want to pay you. I said, when was it? They said, well, all of our commissions would kick in and our benefits would kick in. And I'm like, that's fucked up. That's illegal. They can't do that. But it happens all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And people sign the paperwork.
Well, or even Alec. Alec's been with his company for probably 7 years, like over 10 years total, but he left for a year and then came back.
Yeah.
But him alone, where he's at, they had promised him like, oh, you'll get these commissions for like that last quarter. He's been there for years. His he was supposed to get 10 plus grand and just a bonus on one sale that had come through. They decided that the percentage of sale, like the commission they were going to pay out, was too high. And so they chose not to, even though the deals that came in for those commissions were millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just the selfish, like, but like you said, no one is there for the employee.
Well,
it's
it sounds
there
like
to protect the business entity.
It sounds like that company either probably went through a restructuring of key higher ups and they started to pass down. Yep. Well, that makes sense.
They brought in new higher ups and that, but the problem
sucks.
it was like they kept changing everything. They took away all these benefits that they had for years. They're like, oh, you're no longer going to get this. Oh, you're no longer going to get this. Oh, you're no longer going to get this. And it's just been a continuous thing there. And so he's actually looking everywhere else. He's jumping to competitors, interviewing here because he's like, this is stupid.
Well, it's just, that's the funny thing. A lot of people are like, well, why don't your employees want to stay? Well, acts like that. So when you see conglomerates coming in and buying out companies, if your company's been bought out and you've gone through that restructuring, you saw a ton of people leave. Or most of the time they don't fire them. They just do a lot of performance reviews out of nowhere. And then they go based off of the history and they're like, yeah, we can't keep you,
Or they change metrics.
Mm-hmm. And that's the shitty thing is that they, as the company, they can change their commission structure
anytime,
whenever they want.
Yeah.
And they can do it for any reason whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And it's so messed up. But at the same time, it's like, well, what did you expect? There's warning signs when you get into a company and you're like, oh, yeah. Like the company I recently interviewed for, dude, just super chill. Really cool, very much a family-run business, but very siloed from each other. But it's structured and it's good, and he's not like most of them. They're like, yeah, look at my big company. He's like, oh, it's like those times where you're telling your wife like, don't worry, honey, the order's coming in. And he laughed and he's like, when have I never done that? And it's like, and at the point where your employees are coming in and they're smiling and waving at you and you've got this pit in your stomach because you don't have enough money in the bank to pay her on Friday coming up. At least that's right now. That's a Monday. And he threw his hands up. He's like, you totally know. And I'm like, oh, I've been around it. And I've never had to, well, when I was working with Site Smash kind of, but it was... It's so like, but he doesn't act like anything is different. I mean, he does quite well. He's doing quite well. I mean, they got 200 employees. He's doing quite well for himself, but he doesn't act like it. And that's the difference.
I love those people, the ones who don't. And this,
I think it's because it's earned for a long period of time. Well, and you've gone up and down that you appreciate more.
I think it's some of that, but I think it also depends on the person. Like,
right.
One thing that's always, I love my dad dearly, but one thing that's always bothered me is he's very usually vocal about how much money he makes, how well-to-do he is, or this or that. And I'm like, why is that? Why is this even a conversation? Why are you, Well,
it's because it's something that
he held it with a lot of value because in his life, that's what his dad worked for, was a lot of, I didn't know this till yesterday. I was working with my dad and talking to him. My grandpa built thousands of homes around Provo Norm. Thousands. He had a company called Intermountain Housing. He started that before he got in an accident and broke all of his ribs off his spine and was handicapped basically for almost a year. His dad and his cousin were helping run the company and they didn't do very well when he wasn't there. So it kind of tanked in that year. And so then after that was when he did more apartments and other things and that. But where the hell is it going with that? Gosh.
No, you're talking about homes. Like he built thousands of homes around
but like
here.
The cake, yeah.
The money.
Takes your...
No, but
his focus was always like the money. What do I have? How am I viewed? My grandpa was always, what car am I driving? He had custom ordered Cadillacs multiple times that he had shipped to his house from Cadillac.
He sounds like my mother-in-law's grandmother.
He had custom-made MGs. When he got in an accident in that MG, it was his favorite one. He had to get custom parts from all these other ones to rebuild it because of that. But he was always the one who was like keeping up with the Joneses. His best friend and him were always competing. It was like, oh, he got this RV that was $300,000. Well, now I got to go get this one, and it's got slide outs on both sides, and it's got this and this, and this new TV came out, and I'm like, well, who gives a shit? Like, and then the other side of my family was Grandma and Grandpa Holt, who never spent any money, but apparently had tons of money, and lived like they were poor
paupers.
Yeah, and just very one side to the other of like, I need to flaunt and I have all of this, and then the other side of like, I need to be frugal and not spend and don't need this and this and this.
Well, it's just funny because it's like one of these guys. He is more of a left-leaning professor, and he talks a lot about the markets. He teaches kids about the markets and the world of commerce and everything like that, and how it's shaped. And the thing he talks about, like somebody had asked him on a podcast, and they said, what would you give advice to somebody else about making money? We'll make a lot of it and then give it away. About making money. We'll make a lot of it and then give it away. Spend it because it's only members. And take care of them. Take care of all of them. If you can, do it. And it's going to make you feel great, and you're going to help them, accomplish things in their life.
Yeah.
And then when you're done with that, help your friends. And then when you're done with that, and by helping your friends, he's like, take them on a trip just because you can.
Yeah.
Do
go
whatever.
To dinner.
Always pick up the tab
go
at dinner.
Golfing. Go just
anything.
Spend time, do something
to be with somebody else.
Yeah.
Because that's the point. And I really,
you have that capability.
Well, what's the point of money? It's to have more time.
Mm-hmm.
But most people who make a lot of money and they continue to get money, they don't know how to balance it out. And all they do is spend their time making money to spend money on things that they will never use because they got to go do more money making.
Yep.
Why?
Oh, yeah.
Like I would give it.
It's interesting. My dad's home is every year. He's like, oh yeah, I spent this much on my home. Why? Like what? You don't like being there most of the time. Your pools, you don't do these things. So what is the value of what you're building and doing? Why are you spending more money to do these things? And yet at the same time, they're like, oh, I'm really sad because, your mom gets to do all these Sunday dinners or spend all this time. Well, you choose to. You could choose to. That's all it is you're choosing to spend all this time. I need to work to get more money, to have more money, so I can do this. Well, you could choose to spend a little bit of time instead to go do something with your family or interact or engage or do all of this stuff. But instead it's, well, I'm so busy with all this and I've got to do this on my home and,
Yeah, it's really hard because
what is the relationship we build?
Well, and it's, are you a slave to money or is it your tool? And I hear that and I hear I'm a slave to money and it's not a tool because they can use it as a tool, but they don't, because the whole point of having it is to not work harder. It's not to work harder to make more so you can have more to show off. Like where Elon is at right now, let's take that. Like they've done so much math. I mean, he literally is.
He's got a ludicrous amount of money.
Well, he is and as far as measurement wise, he is one of the wealthiest people of all time. But he started to minimalize a lot of things. He sold all of his homes. I mean, you see what he lives in, and everybody go, "Oh, look how great he is." No, I think he got to a point where he's like, "What do I want to buy anything else? Like, I can get whatever I want." It's
everything.
It loses its value.
Yes,
it loses its luster.
Yes, exactly. Cool. Well, because it's like you get to a point, and I think this is what all of the people are chasing. All of us are chasing is, when I get this, I'll be happy. Once I have this, I'll be happy. Once I make this, I'll be happy. Once I weigh this, I'll be happy. Once my body looks like this, I'll be happy. None of us are always happy in this moment of where we're at, so we're always chasing something else. But if you have every fucking thing, what are you chasing? You're not chasing the money. You're not chasing an item or a thing or a clothing.
No, they're
or
chasing
a car.
a feeling.
It's because this doesn't equate to happiness. This doesn't change a thing.
But here's the thing, too. Like the rebuttal on your dad would be this. Even though he says, I really wish I could do those things, and you said it's so easy to do it, he would be uncomfortable trying to do that because it's just not what he's built up for a long time. Even though he sees it's good. It's like me. I look at ice cream and I'm like, fuck, that looks good. like a good like stone, the cold stone, like get all this shit in there. But all I know is that I'm not going to feel good about halfway through eating this, and it's going to be a big mistake. And it's just not me.
Ice cream always makes my guts feel like weird. Yeah.
Especially those kind.
I love it. Like, it's delicious. Don't get me wrong. So good. But it's the same thing. Or like when I see candy, all these sweets.
I haven't
and
had
I'm
ice
like,
cream in forever.
I'm like, that sounds so tasty. I'm like, but then, like, do I need that? Is it going to make me feel great? Am I going to stop at one, or am I just going to eat a shit ton?
Well, and it goes
know.
to that point where you get this, it's habitual all of a sudden. Like, spending money for your dad is habitual now. Like, he's like, guess how much I spent on my home this year to upgrade it. Like, why the fuck would you do that? It's gorgeous.
It's literally
I wanted
brand
to do
new,
it here.
And I'm like, it's literally a brand new home. Why would you ever spend that much?
It would be like going in, like, and Adam didn't even do that. Like, he's just like, oh yeah, this is where I'm staying right now. Like, and it's gorgeous home, and it would have been.
He also came from a different level of wealth than I think even my father comprehends.
Oh, way different. Yeah, but even then, though, now, like, for him, he's like, yeah, you gotta appreciate the finer things in life. But he still lives in a multi-million-dollar home. And
drives a six-figure car.
Yeah, and that's just one of them. And he is just like, he's like, yeah, well, I'm used to having more. And I get that.
So to him, it feels like cutting back.
Right. But I would rather be a millionaire that's just like good dating all the time. Like, just random. Like, I love seeing those videos of Shaq. I don't like that he's recording because it makes it look like you're fucking doing this on purpose to get attention, but whatever. But if you're like Shaq, you know, you walk around, hey, what's going on? What you got over there? Let me, take your kids to, like, I saw this video. He took these little Hispanic kids or black kids or something. They were definitely, darker colored. And they takes them out and they go and buy a bunch of shit. Like, they just fill up baskets and he just pays for it. And to him, he's like, yeah, it's the least I can do.
But
to
it was
that
content,
family,
right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And
that's the thing that bothers me too. It's
this is what I think about. It's like do something good for someone who can never repay you. Well, if you're doing it good, why are you publicizing it? Why do you need this camera, I need it to be out? If you're truly doing good, is it good because you need to be seen doing good? And if so, why? Why do we feel the need, I have to be seen doing good? Can't you just do the good to do it because truly that's what impacts you? And that's the
character.
Others?
That's a strong character.
But like, it seems weird to go, I need to, like, hey, I can't help someone without it being visible or seen or known that I donated, that I gave my time, my energy, my money, whatever. Like, everyone better know that I did this.
Well, I just thought about when you were saying that, it made me kind of think about it. So I'm going to paint it in a different light.
Yeah.
You're an entertainer. Your whole life is in front of the world constantly. Whatever you're doing to make them happy, that's what you have to keep doing. If any of the top-ranking basketball players of today, after the game going, fuck you, I go home to lots of money, to the crowd, that guy's not going to he's not going to play very long.
They're going to hate him. They're going to go, oh, he's an asshole.
Dude, a great example of that. It no matter what, money comes with privilege, but it also comes with a strong responsibility. You need to be better about that when you have money because you're in a different place. You don't understand what it's like to be that person that you're talking to at that moment. That's why I don't have any respect for Taylor Swift, because how she is. Like, I've heard that she's a total cunt to some of her fans just depending on the day, which I get. You're in the limelight all the time, but that's your fucking job. Like, I'm sorry. You make a lot of money. Like, Taylor Swift has a fuck ton of money, but I guarantee she doesn't get to enjoy it very much. She's constantly on tour.
But that's just it, is usually they'll do that. And I don't know her timeline. Maybe she was a billionaire before her massive last Eras tour or whatever it was that she did. But I thought she became a billionaire on that tour. And Emily was like, well, she's been touring for a year and a half. I'm like, well, or a couple of years or whatever it was. And I'm like, well, that makes sense.
Does she control her record label?
Now, I think she owns it. That's why
she's making billions.
Yeah, but I'm like, so she's touring for a year or years, going around. Like, of course you're going to have no time, but you're also making a fuck ton of money in that time. So at that point, yeah, maybe you've done a couple years, but if you're taking a break after that, what the fuck are you going to do with billions of dollars?
Well, and that's
anything you want.
Well, look at the statement. I'm bringing in some like social shit, but it's a very good point as far as what money can do to your mind. I would say like there's all that like that motherfucker who was talking about like the brain scans on Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber. Like the thing that I think about on that one is like start doing brain scans on people who are really wealthy that have nobody around them, that are constantly working but never connecting.
Oh, they're not in the limelight, all constant. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're
just a person.
Constantly working. If that person is doing it, but they have a purpose, that's pretty awesome. Like, and it always starts out good, and then it always turns a little bit. But you always have to get, you almost have to have not an accountability partner, but you just need to have somebody there that can check you at any time, and you need to be humble enough to take that. And what I think about, like, when you get wealth really fast, it changes you biologically in a way. Your mind now thinks differently, and it's changed everything about, like, you are now used to a different, like, do you think Mark Zuckerberg could come in here and chill with us and smoke weed? Fuck no.
I don't even know if he smokes weed.
Well, I'd hope so. I mean, he's doing weird things now, dude. His hair's all curly. He's got some sun in his skin.
What?
He doesn't look like an android. Yeah.
Oh, they allowed him out?
Well, I think they had him in stasis.
In a box.
Yeah, they had him in stasis, and they were using the android. And then all of a sudden, like, and then all of a sudden he's like, "What's up, guys? What's going on? Yo, just got back from the surfing," and you're like, "What the fuck is going on?" But that maybe he's at a point where he can change. It's like one of the wealthy people that I really not completely admire, but I admired what he did in this business, and what happened after was tragic. Though Zappos, when it was purchased by Amazon, they didn't change one thing about how they'd work with their customers, because Tony Hsieh had built this whole thing around the customer gets full, like, just access, and they can return whenever they want, whatever it is. And after Amazon purchases it, they didn't change one fucking thing.
Huh.
They may have changed things now.
Was that a shoe company?
Yep. It was an online shoe company.
I was like, that sounds super familiar for some reason.
Yeah, you go there, and they could send you a ton of shoes, and you could return them all.
Huh.
And they'll be like, "Oh, we'll send you more." Like, they just constant, dude. But Tony Hsieh ended up dying because he had no purpose. And that's the thing that I had heard from Elon. He's like, we could have all these autonomous robots helping humanity, and the problem that's going to happen is we will have no purpose.
Yeah.
And that is what retirement is, having no purpose. And so I don't want to be like knitting shit. I want to continue growing and making things.
That's why I don't... The idea that we work to retire, we live a life of like, you need to work to do all this stuff so you can retire once you're 60, 65, 50, whatever
now
it is.
Now it's in the 70s.
Or 70s. I don't know. But like, you're doing that to retire.
Yeah.
But then what the fuck do you do with your time at that point? Because what is the purpose of retiring? Is it to sit there and watch TV? Is it to go play bingo? Is it to do these things? Or like, I feel like at that point, you feel like you have zero purpose. Why am I alive? Why am I around?
Well,
so then what do you create? What do you do? I'm like, that's what I would love to do is this. I could do this till I die. I could hang out with you, smoke weed, and talk about shit until I die. And this wouldn't feel like I was working because I would be hanging out with my best friend. Just, it wouldn't be the same. And so that, I'm like, why would people want to find a job that they're like, I'm going to do this. I hate it, but I'm going to do this for 25, 30, 40 years, whatever, and then I'm going to retire.
Yeah, no, I well, like right now, like I'm looking for something to sustain. Yeah, I'm looking for a job, but it's different now because of the experience I have and taking. I mean, the first thing they were like, dude, you've been an entrepreneur for a while. Like, why would you want to stay here? And it was an honest question. I'm like, I'm sick and tired of the chase. Like, I'm done with the chase. It's hard. It's hard trying to run your own little boutique thing and continue to make money on it. And so for me, but what's nice now is a lot of the behavior science that I've been doing for so long now helps me when I'm talking to somebody. I interviewed for another company, and I already felt a disconnect with the guy. The guy wasn't even looking at me.
Yeah.
He was on his phone, and I'm like, this guy doesn't even want me. You know what? Either he's chosen somebody else or he's just done with the interview process.
Yeah.
So I just spoke my mind the whole time. And that perked him up. He looked up. He's like, whoa, that's kind of a red flag. I said, a red flag? Somebody who puts time into understanding people and you want them to do that? And I said, the difference between me and another guy is that you're looking for a manager and I'm more of a motivator. I'm not gonna manage people. I'm gonna motivate them. I don't
Because a
wanna chase
manager,
them.
most of the time when they're looking for it, is a micromanager.
Yeah.
And that doesn't actually produce really effective results
No.
in an employee.
They get tiny spikes of growth, and it's usually just around those early hires, and then the guys burn out.
Oh, yeah.
Like your brother. Like, that's sad to hear about your brother, because for years your brother was able to do his job well, had plenty of free time, and then there was a carrot dangled.
Yeah.
He was like, dude, this is a bigger carrot. And he was thinking about like, oh man,
The
awesome.
thing is, he was in like the top percentage of sales or something in his department for that quarter.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's impressive, because he's actually started trying again more. He's like, I thought of leaving and doing that. He's still looking to leave now, but he's putting in the effort and going, yeah, I'm making a ton more and I'm not really actually doing much more.
It's not, what's sad is that today, as I was explaining, talking to my wife about why last names are more prevalent than they were back then. And the reason why is whatever you did
What's your name?
usually was you.
Yeah.
It was just your name. It would be, you'd be Brandon, son of Greg. Like, you wouldn't have a last name.
Yeah. Well, or a builder, because he's a builder. It'd be something along like.
No. Like, you could be you would be considered a builder if that was your occupation.
Yeah.
Right? But it was just always like you were the son of somebody else. You were the son of somebody else. Like, even going back into like England time, a lot of them didn't have. Like, if you were a serf, you didn't have a last name. You'd be lucky if you got a name. Any your name. You're Edward. Okay, Edward. Edward, the blacksmith's son.
Blacksmith's son. Yeah.
Well, I played Kingdom Come Deliverance, but it is that it totally kind of depicts this historical time, because it's like people didn't talk with your last name didn't mean as much unless you were like royalty,
Yeah.
or a
then
ruler
it
of
always-
land.
Yeah.
But it's
Been an interesting conversation.
yeah.
What did you guys toke on today for today's conversation? Let us know below.
Yeah.
Whether it was concentrate, flower, what the strain was. If you even know the strain. Because I know...
Did you eat cereal while you were doing that? Did you have a burrito?
Oh, I don't know.
Did you soil yourself?
Oh, God, I hope not.
Yeah. Did you have to pee a couple times while doing it?
I mean, this was quite a conversation.
Were you making a pizza while you're... I would be
like
curious
pizza.
to hear how many people listen to this podcast while they're at work.
Oh, yeah.
Or
I
on the
don't
way to
know.
work. Or is it more of like a nighttime thing for you guys?
Yeah. We're chilling at home, token.
Maybe we put in a poll for that.
Yeah.
Saying
Stripper poll?
a stripper poll.
Yep.
When do you usually listen to us? Morning, noon, night.
Yeah. Choose your stripper pole.
Yeah, choose your stripper poll. That's where Brandon's always at.
I'm always on the stripper pole.
That's
Gotta make them
disturbing.
dollars.
Oh, that's disturbing. I picture you like in just whitey tighties and some tube socks.
Whitey tighties,
Yeah.
no way.
And you come out.
Bro, they
and
have
you're
leopard
like,
print.
No. It has to be whitey tighties. And they've got that frayed elastic band. No, I'm going too far. Take care, guys.